Good morning. Today is Tuesday, March 18th, 2025. Job date for Wednesday the 19th. All right, let's go. Well, CCL moving a little in our favor, better than the poke and the eye. As far as new setups, let's stick with this dash for now. I went back to the original entry on this one. I feel like it needs a little wiggle room to avoid getting triggered on noise alone. As you can see, plenty of shorts in here tonight. I do like this dash. A lot of these shorts, I weeded out a lot of them already. A lot of them have a lot of support below, and in some cases they look good, but I'd like to see a little bit more of a bounce based on the magnitude of this slide, such as Hood. Also, obviously, the overall market didn't slide, or I should say, didn't pull back that much. Let's take a look at the CCL, and then we'll move on. CCL being in a setup again. You can see it sold off a little bit today and getting thwarted at that 200 simple moving average. Let's hop into the major MIGs, and then we'll do a little bit drilling down. First of all, S&P 500 selling off fairly hard. Bit of a bummer. You would expect more of a bounce in here. Like I said, in quite a few places, and I think here last night, the VIX had already gotten oversold to the downside fairly quickly. But you know, between one day at a time, I would expect a very bumpy ride. For now, though, looking pretty ugly. It looks like the downtrend remains the direction of least resistance, I should say. One cup of coffee tomorrow. Actually, didn't have any today. Anyway, NASDAQ selling out fairly hard, as you can see, down almost 1.75%. Again, you'd expect a little bit more bounce from a market that is just so incredibly oversold, depending on really just any metric that you want to use for the most part. Russell 2000 pulled back a little as of late, but then it got whacked fairly hard today, down 1%. As I've been saying quite a bit, not too many areas looking okay, except for maybe gold, as you can see, breaking out to new highs, or gold being the big exception. Gold stocks, opening gap reversal there, but they didn't manage to make it to nearly all-time highs. So we could see some setups here fairly soon. I do have quite a few, as I would say, in my momentum list. Here's broker-dealer. The, Hood is the stock that looks like it could be in trouble. We just talked about that a second ago. So far, it's just pulled back a little bit from that 200. Ideally, I'd like to see a lot of these areas pull back a little bit more deeply before going after them. But you know the routine, take things one day at a time. Transports selling off fairly hard. They remain in a pretty serious slide, as I've been saying quite a bit. Jets look questionable at best. Pretty serious downtrend there so far, just pulling back. The list goes on and on. A lot of areas really do look exactly like that. Take a look at the bags. You can see closing here at multi-month low, so that's not a pretty thing. Foods off a little today. Some of these defensive areas, as I've been saying quite a bit, have improved as of late, but I wouldn't get too excited about them just yet, especially since they are defensive areas. When the overall market rallies, then they can become a source of funds. Cloud computing, stalling right at that 200 simple moving average. Pretty serious slide remains in place. A lot of these areas, though, still very oversold because they hadn't walked off or rallied up to get rid of that or try to negate that oversold condition. Semiconductors, so far just pulling back, turning back down in here, down 1.5%. So it does remain fairly ugly out there, and I wouldn't get too excited just yet, obviously, with the market one way or the other. But for the most part, again, it looks like the path of least resistance remains on the downside. And one thing I think now, more than even more recently, but for quite some time here, it's kind of been a first do no harm kind of market. And that's one thing I was talking about a little bit in Facebook. Even in the uptrend that we've had these big spills in here, and this is why we've been so cautious. All these attempted rollovers, and finally this one could be the real deal. But let's just wait and see and take things again, not to beat the dead horse, but one day at a time. Everybody have a fantastic night. If you have any questions, you know the routine. Thank you so much.